Hi, welcome back to the channel. Now today we are en route to County Antrim to visit a family of Mini enthusiasts to see a couple of very special Minis for our Christmas special 2022. So we're definitely very excited to see these Minis and to share them with you. So sit back, put your feet up and relax because this is going to be a good one. I'm sure most car enthusiasts have heard the name Andy Saunders. Well, he is an independent car designer who has been responsible for some pretty amazing very interesting and frankly some pretty bonkers builds over the years. He's been responsible for creations such as the Citroen 2CV Picasso, the Allegro, the Claustrophobia and Flat Out. Well, the Mini that we're going to feature in today's video is one such creation. So please welcome the Andy Saunders Mini Haha. Saunders grew up in Poole on the south coast of England and developed a keen interest in customization of cars at a very young age. At the age of 15, he was given his first car by his father and he immediately set about customizing it. Nearly 40 years later, Saunders is the leading authority in all things car design, of which are both unique and at many times controversial. With commissions from the film industry, private car collectors and leading car manufacturers, and with no fewer than 76 nominations for the Turner Prize, Saunders was definitely the man to turn to for all things customization. The Mini Haha is no exception and is certainly one of those controversial builds, especially in the Mini community. In a recent interview, Saunders actually noted that everyone said that shortening a Mini could never be done, but this gave him the motivation to spur him on to create this amazing machine behind me. The project started out as a 60 quid 1964 Mini with a brush painted bodywork. So if something went wrong, and if it had to be scrapped, Saunders wasn't really out very much on this. However, as you can see, this project was a huge success. So let's have a walk around and we'll see how it all came to be. The Mini was cut along the floor at the heel board and across the rear of the cross member, with the whole build based on these cuts. The roof was a problem, however, as the Mini is wider at the front than it is at the back, so it wasn't just a matter of just cutting out the centre and bringing the two sides together. So what they actually had to do was to cut the roof into sections, into about 6 sections, and using the centre as the base point and bringing everything in together. And that way left the taper from front to back looked right, but also allowed them to retain the Mini's roof guttering. So the next problem that Saunders had to remedy were the doors. The door is the exact same length as any standard Mark I door, however, it's now completely the wrong shape. So the whole door had to be reshaped to follow the curvature of the wheel arch as well as the line of the rear bulkhead. This also involved, if I open the door, so these are the original door bins, which then had to be cut down and shortened, and then this section of the door had to be completely reshaped to follow the line of the wheel arch, as I mentioned earlier. The slam position here, and where the door latch is, that is the original, just moved, retained and built into the new shape, and then obviously glass had to be remade specifically for the new door shape. It's attention to detail like this that just shows the enormity of the task that Saunders was faced with to shorten the Mini by 2 feet and 7 inches. And to think as well that this was all done by eye with very little use of a tape measure. Then just to tidy up the body lines of the car was de-seamed, so the front and rear seams were removed. The car was de-bumpered with the bumper lips removed as well. And in only 5 months, the now orange Mini, resplendent in its green and white graphics, which were airbrushed on, was unveiled and actually became Andy Saunders' daily drive. It just beggars belief that a man of his stature, I think he was 6'4", 6'5", was able to drive this as his daily car. It's just just fantastic to even think of that. So the Mini was christened Mini Haha, and that came from a poem called The Song of Hiawatha, in which a Native American woman was called Mini Haha. So with a little bit of tweaking of the spelling of that, that's how the Mini came up with its name. After appearing in Street Machine magazine, the Haha was spotted by Ivor Johnson here in Portrush in Northern Ireland, and it became an exhibit in his Motor World Museum in Portrush. I've never seen the Haha, many other of the fantastic cars at the museum went on a school trip back in the late 80s, but unfortunately the museum closed and the collection got broken up. The Haha became a mid-race entertainment piece at the local stock car track and would entertain the crowds doing stoppies and reverse wheelies. So let's fast forward a few years to when it appeared in Auto Trader and was quickly snapped up by Andy Shaw. Okay, let's bring Andy in to fill us in how the restoration came about. So Andy, you got the car we spotted the car in Auto Trader, and then obviously you had to get the car. So what was the reasoning behind buying the car, and then what was the process you went through to actually get into the condition it is here today?
Yeah, I saw the car advertised in Auto Trader, and I sort of thought, that's the Mini Haha. So I went to see the car, and I remember registration of the car, and it actually was Mini Haha, but it was painted red with a white roof. So I sort of thought, can't believe I got the opportunity to buy a piece of Mini history. So I thought, yeah, I have to buy the car. So I bought the car. I brought the car home. And obviously, restoration didn't start on it immediately because I had other various projects and all on the go. So the car stayed in the garage for a few years, and then I contacted Andy Saunders and said that I had got Mini Haha, and the plan was always to restore it back to what it was before, because whenever I bought the car, it was red with a white roof. You wouldn't have knew it was Mini Haha at all. So after speaking with Andy, plan was hatched. Let's restore this car back to its former glory. And so work commenced. It was fairly straightforward. The body was good, and I took things over with Andy because I didn't want to do things to the car. In my eyes, it was still Andy's car. He did the original build, so I was only just going to be a keeper of the car. I say I want to do the car justice, so I decided to put my own spin on the car. Like, we stripped out all the suspension parts, powder coated the subframes green, did all the suspension green, just to be quirky as we could. No engine came with the car, so one of my many friends kindly donated a 998. So did the head on it, put in a new clutch, painted it up, put it together. And that was that sorted out. So had to put on the twin pipe exhaust. I think it suits the car. And then it came to the interior again. I decided to go my own way. Brings it up to date and tried to make it as cool looking as possible. So everything went relatively straightforward. We did. There was a deadline because the car was going to be on display in Beaulieu Car Museum as part of Andy Saunders' collection of cars. There's going to be 6 cars in total, 3 fairly new ones and 3 from the past. And of course, Mini Haha being part of Andy's history, that we had to get the car finished on time. It was close to a wire because the guy put the graphics on it on a Saturday, and the next day we were off to England on the boat. So things were down to the wire, but we got there eventually. The only thing that wasn't right on the car was the wheels. I just put on a wee set of GB alloys just to get the car over to England. But we did get a set of Wellers, so Andy got them powder coated and got them put in the car for Beaulieu. So things went relatively smoothly. There wasn't any real major hiccups, but whenever Andy seen the car, he was really overwhelmed because it's the first one of his cars that's been restored, and I say he always had a soft spot for Haha because what it did for him. So it's just been a real journey of. I sort of felt privileged owning the car and restoring the car, and it's just great to own the car. Well, I actually don't own the car, but Stuart owns the car. I just did the work on it for him. So, and taking it to shows in England, like going to Castlecombe with it and doing the international mini meeting in Bristol was fantastic. I'd like to thank Mini Sport for letting us be in their stand, and people all around the world coming up to the car and commenting on the car, and just it makes people happy, it makes people smile, and that's what the mini scene's all about. Everybody being happy.
No, that's exactly it. And I see as well that Andy and Paddy Hopkirk as well have both signed the dash there as well. So it's again lovely to have a little piece of history added to the car there as well.
Yeah, Andy signed the car before it left Bewley Museum, and then Paddy very kindly, I'll tell you a wee funny story about Paddy. It was at Bewley. The car was at displayed in Bewley, um, because it was at Bewley Car Museum. So we decided to display the car. That's the first time the car was shown to the public. That's in 2018. First time the car had seen the light of day in 30 odd years. So, and obviously Stuart here's a personal friend of Paddy's. So whenever Paddy knew the car was going to be here, let's go and see Stuart's car. So we walked down the field and Paddy seen the car, couldn't believe the car, and very kindly signed the dash and posed for pictures with Stuart with the car. So very sad to hear Paddy's passing away, but it's always great to have those memories with Paddy. So that was a really special day. So it was of meeting Paddy and getting him to sign the dash was absolutely fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So privileged that he did that for us.
No, well, that's good. But like you say, it's all about making the memories. So thanks very much for sharing it with us. Okay, so what is it like sitting in here? Well, the driving position isn't the best. We're sitting on the rear seat. My head is in the headcloth, but it's such an strange sensation. The back window is right at my head. The steering wheel is right in my lap. But it's just such a fun place to be. It's just so different from anything else I've ever sat in, and it's almost TARDIS-like in some ways. It is quite narrow and cramped in here, but it's still such a fun place to be. And yeah, I just still can't imagine how Saunders drove this as his daily drive. This is definitely a build that Andy and his son Stuart must be very proud of, and we are so lucky to have such a special Mini saved, and that they were both so happy for us to showcase it here on the channel. Having seen the finished car at the Causey Coast Mini Club show back in August, it immediately drew me in, and I just couldn't help but smile. Just watching the crowds of people stop, take a look, just take in all the details, taking photographs with it, and just standing back and beholding it, it just reinforces that minis just bring happiness to the masses. And even though the Haha is probably the smallest mini in existence, it certainly brings the most joy. Okay, thanks have to be given to Andy and Stuart for sharing Stuart's Mini Haha with you all. So from a very suitably attired Stuart and myself, thanks very much for watching. But that's not all. Tune in for part 2 for another very special Mini.